Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I am a director of fun and games for this beautiful St. Patrick's Day show here at PHLY. Joining me tonight, who the hell are these two? We have two-time champion of the South Jersey High School Hockey League.
That's right.
That's right. Clearview's finest, Mike J. Walk, and my collaborator. This is Frankie Frankie Barbado. I figured, why the hell not put these two together for this St. Patrick's Day show? Charlie is stuck in Boston. He won't be with us tonight. Everyone else had something to do, so why not, right? It's St. Patty's. Let's see how this goes.
Let's do it.
And boys, it's 14 games left for our Philadelphia Flyers. What a season it's been. How are we feeling about the way things are going right now?
In a word, deflated, I guess you could say. They kind of said it all in the post game the other night. Like, it just feels like everything we're trying here is not working. Just throw every single thing we have at the net, and it's just like, why don't pucks go into net anymore? Does anybody remember what that looks like? It's tough. But I mean, just get through it. We're here. We're watching for sure.
Yeah, it's a grind. I mean, this entire season is just surmises as a grind. So we just got to get through it. We're in the last month, home stretch. Let's get that top pick and get out healthy.
You sound like one of the coaches being like, yeah, it's a grind. We just got to get through it.
I mean,
I know, but like
watching it is a grind. I feel like I'm
all right, that's
beaten
what
down.
I want to coach.
That's
to
what
say.
it is.
The watching this is a chore.
It's
now.
a chore.
Like, and we were chasing the puck around the other night. Good God.
They finish off. They're now, they kick off a 5-game road trip tonight in Tampa. They finished that season-long 7-game homestand, 1-6-0. Their only win was in that shootout against Tampa on Thursday. They've beat Tampa twice this year, both in shootouts. 2-6-1 in their last 9, both wins shootouts. This 5-game road trip, it's pretty tough. The schedule really gets easy, and I'm a little worried about the draft position after this, but Tampa tonight, then Washington, Dallas, okay, Chicago, but then they go to the Leafs. It is a rough trip they're about to get on, and they moved into 6th from the bottom. They have the 6th best lottery odds right now. That could be increasing real soon, but you just look at the way the month of March has gone for the second year in a row. This one makes sense. We were talking about the lineup, like 5 guys who are 4th-liners at best right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Rasmus Ristolainen's out. Garnett Hathaway's out. Like, these aren't huge different makers, but they're NHL players, and that's not something they have a ton of. It has gone poorly for this team, but it makes sense. But even when they have their best players on the ice, allegedly their best players, the power play, 0 for 18 this month. It is the 17th. They're the only team in the league without a power play goal. It's freaking ridiculous how bad they've been lately.
Thompson.
Frank's over here naming mountain ranges, and I'm trying to score a power play goal right now.
No,
Over 18?
Just
Over 18.
How can you do that?
Just terrible.
Just start throwing pucks at the net from the point and see what happens.
They score more at 5-on-5 than they do on the power play.
So decline. Decline from here on out.
The math doesn't seem to math on that.
No.
We have more guys. And it's like, we have TK and Michkov out there together. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Still don't score.
No.
It's really a damn shame what's happening. And there's no help in sight as we take a look at the lineup. Because what can they do? As John Tortorella said today at Morning Skate, there's no other guys.
This is my favorite line.
Bill Meltzer.
It's like
this is my favorite line.
Bill Meltzer asked him, so no lineup changes? He's like, there's no players.
Why? Do you have somebody? Is somebody coming up with the pipeline?
With Risto and Hathaway out, like this is what they have. This is what it is. Maybe we see a call-up or two. They only have one post-deadline call-up left other than an emergency. Maybe we see Grabenkin at some point. He made his debut finally after more visa issues for a player the Flyers traded for. He makes his debut for the Phantoms. Yesterday scores a goal. So did Giovanni Smith. That's pretty cool. But they don't have anybody. This is what they have. And as worried as I am about this schedule, like kind of getting easy, all these teams on paper are better than the Flyers.
Yeah.
Like outside of, it's not as if they play Chicago once, they stink. But other than that, like there's no Sharks out there. It's yeah, we're going to play Montreal twice. Montreal's way better than the Flyers are. So that's kind of where they are right now. But it is going to be Ivan Fedotov in net tonight. Up against the Lightning. He recorded his first career win in November against the Lightning. That was in a shootout. Vasilevsky was going for his 300th in that game.
Why is every sentence you're ending with is, and that was in a shootout? Like
that's the only way they're winning. It was just ridiculous.
That's the John Tortorella experience is, yeah, we're just going to play real hard. Maybe we can get a tie. And then when you go to the shootout, cross your fingers. That's pretty much what they're going
shootout
with
tonight, boys. Here we go.
So no lineup changes. Like I said, Hathaway and Risto still out, but Fedotov's season has been, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's hard to say he's an NHL quality goaltender when you look at it as a whole, but he's been putting some better performances together.
I mean, I think the bar is so low. I mean, I think we're looking at this like if this was like years ago when we were like starving for good goaltending, like he stinks. I put it in the outline. I just think that our goaltending, the reason why we're not winning any games like here on out is just
you
goaltending.
Think the reason we're not winning games
I
is
think the goaltending is terrible.
Frank,
I think it's terrible.
18. What is the goalie at the point of the power play?
No. I'm just saying, like, we always are like, they could have had a couple stops here, a couple stops here. Like, Fedotov, like, the other night, he lets in that terrible goal. Terrible goal. And it just, like, destroys your momentum. You know how that goes. So,
I do. I'm just not ready to say that the reason this team is bad is because of the goaltending. Like, Ersson, I don't know what happened to him after the break.
He's a backup.
He's just, like, been gone. But sometimes the backup's good. Have you ever heard of Michael Layton?
True.
The guy carried us in 2010.
That's, like, their best goalie, the guy they have anointed their number one, Sam Ersson, like, maybe there's something else there, but he's over 100 games in his career. I think he's a backup tandem at best. Yeah. And you look at the other two guys who've played for them. Like Ivan Fedotov he's a 28, 29-year-old rookie. I don't really see much of a ceiling for him beyond. Yeah, sometimes he doesn't lose it for you. That's really the most you can ask for the goalies right now. They're not the reason you lost. That's really the ceiling for these goaltenders is, I mean, he let up 3. One of them was bad, but we scored none, so it's not his fault. Like, that's really the best you can ask for the goalies at this point.
And I feel like with these young goalies, too, sometimes they're almost like the pitcher that comes in and it's just like, all right, maybe like Kyle Kendrick had a great first year. All of a sudden, he gets figured out. So they figured out their weak spots. There's a book on this guy now. So I feel like that's what's going on with Ersson a little bit. Like, after the break, we got enough stats on this guy. We know where his weak sides are. We're just going to attack him at those spots. Goalies and pitchers can kind of be like that, and that we just need to figure out how we're going to attack this guy, and then, like, you're kind of solved. I don't mean to put it that simply, but, like...
No,
I mean, that's what it is.
I do think, like, when you see several games in a row of Fedotov, like, oh man, he was like over 900 tonight. That's pretty much all you can ask for. And then he has a game, it was 3 goals on 18 shots. Well, yeah.
You just don't know where you're going to get. There's too much inconsistency.
They are, and that's John Tortorella said today, like, listen, I know a lot of people get nuts because I criticize the goaltending, and you're not supposed to do that. You never talk about your goalies, but anyone watching these games has seen inconsistent is the nicest thing you can say about these goalies this year. Like, and that's what it's been. And listen, it stinks because I always say selfishly, they should lose. It's good to lose, but we have to watch these games and when you just see the same problems every night, you're like, this is just frustrating. As much as, Team Tank, let's go. Tankathon.com, baby. Let's run that simulator. It's still, what the hell can you do?
But I mean, our prospect goalies aren't like coming anytime soon. We're talking a couple of years.
Bjarnason's going to turn pro, but I got to believe he's at least one season in the AHL.
For sure.
Right.
And Zavragin, actually good and plays for St. Petersburg. They're one of the premier teams. They're not giving guys up for no reason.
At least another 3 years for him, right?
2-3 years, I believe. I think he has 2
really
more on
it.
This is all fine because you're telling me we're going to be ready next year?
No, absolutely not. No, I'm fine with the timeline. But I'm saying, like, if you do get a competent goaltender next year, like I was actually fine going in with Ersson and Fedotov. I still
find out.
Yeah, find out.
It was a year to find out.
Find out a lot. I think about Ersson more than anything. So
I think what we learned about Ersson is I think he's an NHL goalie, but not a 50 start a year guy.
No way.
The more you play him, the worse he looks. He either gets hurt or all of a sudden he gets in a stretch like he's in right now where Yeah, I don't know. He's been $850 for a month, so this is probably all he is.
Maybe you're Marty Biron. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like that. Just
Don't talk
sit on
bad
the
about
bench.
Marty Biron.
I love Marty Biron, but just stand on the bench and say some funny stuff for the cuts. All
Hey,
right, we're good with that.
A Marty B level goallie would have this team on the cusp of the playoffs.
We're still talking about Marty Biron, not Marty Brodeur, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Marty B goalie. And if somebody says, "Oh, I'm talking about Marty B the goalie," oh, you mean Marty Biron? No, I'm talking about Marty Brodeur.
The real Marty B, Marty Biron. I really think that's going to be a target this offseason is a Jake Allen or Alex Lyon just to come in and give you some level of competence. Neither of them are starters, but just half the games will have a guy who you kind of know what you're going to get with him and Ersson next year. But it is Fedotov tonight. And listen, he did have one of the best games of his career against the Lightning. Granted, it was in November.
Lightning struck, I guess you could say.
Perhaps he's a guy who steps up against other Russians as he did against Kucherov and Vasilevsky last time he was against his team. And that leads us to tonight's bets. That's right. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm not going to take... You guys are just impressed that I'm good at my job, aren't you?
No, I thought you were talking about somebody who has a gambling problem. And I looked at Frank.
A couple tonight. We're going to take Cam York over 2.5 block shots. Cam York hasn't looked like himself most of this year. It seemed like he re-aggravated a shoulder injury from last season at one point this year and just kind of been playing through it. But something that was real impressive to me about him last year is he kind of turned himself into Nick Seeler in terms of block shots, went over this number all the time. This year it went away a bit. Since he got scratched, he's been going over 3, 4, 5 shots and block shots a night. Why the hell not? If this is territorial domination, the way I'm kind of expecting, the way Tampa blew out Boston the other night in a revenge game against them, well, Flyers beat them last week too. Kind of think they're going to go, all right, that wasn't our best effort. Let's show you.
Yeah.
That means there's going to be a ton of attempts. Cam York, plenty of block shot opportunities. And then Matvei Michkov, over 0.5 point. I'm back on it, Frankie.
I love this.
This is actually his first career meeting with Nikita Kucherov. He was a healthy scratch for the game in November, back when Torts was teaching him some sort of lesson, and he missed those 2 games as healthy scratch. Nikita Kucherov was out on Thursday. So despite this being their third meeting, first time, and Mish has stepped up against stars and
Big
Russian stars.
Yeah.
He is. He's only guy in the league with 3 overtime goals and 3 shootout goals. He's been huge against Ovechkin this year. He has stepped up against McDavid, had some big games against Crosby. I think this is another opportunity, especially against the countryman. I think he gets on the board. It's 3 or 4 in a row without points for Mish. I'm taking him. I am taking him to score at least a point. The goal number is pretty good, too. It's higher than it's been. I think it was like 230 or something. It's usually around 190. So
yeah,
if you have that confidence that he can put the puck in the net himself, maybe take a look at that anytime goal. But I'm going to go with Mish over 0.5 point just to play it safe because I'm like 10 and a million this year on the bets I've given out. It's gone poorly.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
yeah, there've been a few wins. We hit Cam York last game, so I'm going to keep riding that.
All
but
right.
you look at Mish, and Torts had some interesting comments because we weren't sure coming into the year like how this was going to go. On
Right.
one hand, you go, okay, high skilled. You heard the reports about his character in this before he comes over, and it's like, he's not the easiest guy to play with, Michkov. He sets a very high standard for himself, and when his teammates don't live up to it, he has no problem telling them, and maybe he'd butt heads with Torts, but also they both seem like competitive jerks.
He's definitely a gamer. Like, he had that shootout goal the other night. It's like, yo, man, you just lost like 100 in a row, and then you're doing that kind of sell. You'd be like, okay.
Telling the crowd, no, I want a little more.
Exactly,
like, I absolutely love it. But you look at Mish, and I do think listen, it's going to be a while before he plays in games that actually matter.
Yeah.
But in these...
And hopefully it's for us.
Yeah. Gotta believe that he's never getting away. That's never getting... You just can't let him out.
No, he's not going anywhere.
He is the crown jewel of this thing.
Absolutely.
And I do love just his competitiveness and how he does kind of get fired up, even when the coach has something to say, he kind of fires back at him. And Torts today, I love coaching him. He's a hockey player. And while I always laugh at the he's a hockey player thing, because that's what it says on his freaking,
I'm a hockey player.
That's what it says on his tax form. Like professional hockey player. Like, that is the best way to describe him. He is a gamer.
Coming from John Tortorella, that's the best compliment you can get.
Right. And Torts is
The
one of
best
those
compliment.
guys where, like, I'm going to be hard on you, but if you're hard back to me, I'm just going to, respect that. And that's what's going on right here. It's like, if you're going to be hard on me, I'm going back at you. I care. He's showing that he cares by giving him that. I like that.
We saw it with Morgan Frost last year, like after the 10th benching or something. Frost finally went into his office and like challenged him. And Torts was fine. Like, finally, this is what I've been trying to do.
Exactly.
I finally got you to fire back at me. And like he said a couple of weeks ago when he scratched Cam York, I've been trying to pick a fight with Cam York just to see some fire out of him. And he hasn't had to do that at all with a, 19, 20-year-old immigrant who doesn't speak the language. And he has no problem coming back at him. And Torts seems to really like that. It's in what was otherwise a lost year. Matvei Michkov, awesome bright spot for this team.
100%.
Oh, yeah, like it's a reason to turn on the TV.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, let's watch this kid. I mean, that Carolina game looked like it was big brother against little brother playing a video game. Like, come get the puck. Come get the puck. You can't touch me. And it was just like, we're just going to circle around with the puck the entire game. Like, all right, hon, let me know when Mitch is back on the ice and like I'll turn it on and stop cooking this guacamole or something. Like, it was actually something to watch out there, and he has been something to watch for this entire year. Like, all right, this guy might do something crazy. What are you thinking about guacamole?
I just want to know how often you make guac.
Well, cook
when
guac.
the avocados are ripe.
Cook guac is the more appropriate term.
God! I mean, one
Just
mistake, and
smash it.
here we go.
I'm
The
just saying.
chef over here is going to get all over me because it didn't have gabagool in it or something.
Sure, wear that
But
This is, by the way, this is the Italians trying to take the Irish and trying to take my day.
I'm wearing green.
Look at his shirt.
I'm wearing green.
purposefully wearing the prosciutto shirt today.
why? I'm
Because
wearing
he
green.
wants to make me mad. I hope a Guinness never touches your lips again in your life.
I'm going right after the show.
But I will say I thought Mish had a chance to get back in the Calder Trophy race. 47 points in 66 games. It's a really nice number. Macklin Celebrini running away with this thing. He's ahead of him in goals. He's well ahead of him. I think a point or two, but in terms of points a game, well ahead of Michkov. I think the best Mish can hope for is to be a finalist with Lane Hudson.
Sure.
This is Celebrini's award, though. It's going to be...
But at least the conversation was had, and this is another instance where it's
all year he was in the top.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
All right, if this is going to be a
great
find out year, we found out. The kid can play.
If our
He
power
in the
play was a
conversation.
little bit better,
Right.
Mish would have so many more goals. He would be probably the front runner if we had a competent power play.
You just look at that slump he went through. I think he had 6 or 7 points in like 27 games.
Yeah.
It's like if he could just add a goal here or there on the power play, he's running away with this thing, at least in terms of production.
Right.
But since that's not an option, the only reason they've scored it all this year is basically like he did something. No one there to really help. The coach is incompetent, to say the least, on the power play. Like
The power,
I don't
like,
know. Let's have him on the left side. He's a righty. He's a lefty. He spent his entire career in Russia on the right side. Let's try him over here, and let's have Rasmus Ristolainen run point. And there's no net front presence. Like, how's anyone ever supposed to score in the power play?
Yeah.
And not to backtrack on the whole power play conversation, but it's one of those things that you're banging your head against the wall about it. Like, all right, you can at least say, like, on paper, hey, maybe we have at least 5 of the best guys on this team. And if we put them and, you guys don't even have to have one of your players on the ice, we still can't score a goal? That's what you're telling me?
You just look
it's so deflating to think of it that way. Like, our 5 best against, just put out 4. I think we can score. Over 18? You got to be kidding me. It's hard to do.
It seems almost more like mathematically, just in terms of the odds.
Right.
I don't know, 18 chances in the first 16 days of the month. They get 1, right? No. Like, score would be minus 200 at least.
Yeah.
1. But no, it's almost impressive how bad they've been. And I do understand they lack the personnel. Again, they don't have a point man. They don't have a net front guy. Well, how are you supposed to score?
Yeah.
But draw something up. Figure something out. Like you could be better than never scoring. It's a real low bar here. Just better than never. And they're unable to surpass that.
Yeah.
I want to take a couple of minutes to look at these Tampa Bay Lightning because Flyers did catch them, like as hot as the Hurricanes were in that game where they just ran like 5-0 and it wasn't even that close.
No, it really wasn't.
Hurricanes, I think that was their 6th or 7th straight win. When they beat Tampa last week, that was a 3-game losing streak after going like 11-1-1 before that. So it was just a little decline for them. And now it appears as if they have bounced back in a big way. Beat the Bruins 6-2, outshot them 40-12. And Tampa is not like a great possession team. It was one of the things we looked at on Thursday. They typically, it's like get outshot. I think it was like 27.8 to 27 on the season. Like that's their average. They just have awesome players, so they score on a high amount of their shots. You can kind of get counter chances against them, but they might be on a little revenge tour against the teams that beat them during that small little dip after they just dominated the Bruins, who shut them out a week prior.
Keeping a team to 4 shots a period. Like, oh my
that's
gosh.
insane. That's
another thing. Like, that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
You can dump a puck in and get a shot on net sometimes. Like, my gosh, 4 shots a period.
It is awesome, though, to see, like, Tampa loses Stamkos, they add Gensel, and you just see how this team keeps churning it out, because in the cap era, we've seen teams have runs, and then once they start to lose that depth, all right, that was that. It's time to start over.
I mean, you look at Chicago.
Chicago, terrible.
Yeah.
Like, the Kings didn't really have that much of a dip, but like most of the teams that go on runs, you look at the Penguins right now, like, oh yeah, we're out of players. You know, we haven't drafted anyone in years, so this is the way it goes. The Lightning, back-to-back cups, win 3 straight conference championships. Here they are without, the greatest player in franchise history, Stamkos. They're better. They're better. And it all starts really with Nikita Kucherov, missed the last game. 94th point of the season, I believe. He picked up an assist in his first game back after missing that Flyers game last week. He kills us. He kills everybody. 100 assists last year, like something that hasn't been done in 20 years.
Right.
It's amazing the amount of talent they've been able to find, and not at the top of the draft. Like Kucherov, Point, these aren't first-round picks. They just keep churning it out. Tampa is one hell of a franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you deny those stats? Like it's just replenish. I mean, God, it almost reminds you of the Eagles in the sense where it's just like, let's just replenish the guys. Like, all right, Stamkos is going to go. Let's get Gensel in here. And basically that's a replacement for him.
And they're active in the trade deadline. They're ready to go.
They do not care about prospects. They do not care about first-round picks. They clearly prefer like established NHL guys.
On your team, you go for it too, right?
That's
like,
you
that's
are.
Yeah. Like this is our core guy right here.
When you have multiple Hall of Famers, you say we owe it to them. Like, this is the window. When are we going to have Hedman, Vasilevsky, Point, and Kucher? Like, assembling that many guys who are going to the Hall of Fame, it's impossible to do. You don't start over when you have them.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you could do the rebuild on the fly like Washington did. Looks like it's working. Florida.
Why do I feel like Washington isn't being talked about enough for some reason? Like,
overall,
but I think it's the Ovi thing that's kind of just overshadowed the whole thing. Like, hey, these guys are actually killing it too. Like, it's working.
They were like a surprise team last year, but everyone was like, they're not that good. The East just stinks, and they get in playoff start, they get killed. But this year, it's not that. No. Like, they have a chance to win the President's Trophy while Ovechkin is doing this, but it is more like the Ovechkin thing.
Yeah, I think that's just like burying the lead, right? Like,
I don't know. You just look at their roster and go, I don't know, are they beating these top teams in the East? I still don't think they're better in Florida. I don't care if they had 150 points on the season.
Right.
But it is really weird the way the East is shaping out. And like, I think like we had we re-looked at our predictions preseason.
Oh,
and
I had to this.
I had the Rangers winning the cup. So that was a lot of fun for me to look back at. Yeah, it's not looking great for them. They're going to be in the lottery. That's great. But like Tampa just stays in it. And it's like, they're like a wild card team. They'll be good. No, they're going to be like third in the division again. They're really just kind of defying the way things go in the cap era. It's very impressive. And I don't know.
Tampa, Florida, Toronto are top teams in the East, really?
Yeah.
So like,
I don't look at anyone in the Metro. Carolina has to prove it. Yeah. Like I look at Carolina and they're awesome, but they're awesome in the regular season every year. I picked Tampa to come out of the East because you look at everyone else, like, can a team really go 3 years in a row? Well, Tampa did. But at a certain point, you look at Florida, like, everyone's just got to be hurt. Like, they've played so much freaking hockey. They're going to run into Tampa maybe in the first round. I'm taking the Lightning. I really, really like the team that they're putting out there.
I don't think that surprised too many people. Yeah. Carolina is like one of those teams. Like, Torts even said it himself. Like, he said in so many words, like, this is the team that we want to be. Like, we would love to be just like this team where they're just coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. But, like, when you have teams like that, and I think this was the concern about Torts from the start, like, how long can these guys play like this? How long can they just, like, continue to forecheck and play it 110% every night? Where's the burnout going to come from? And to me, that's where Carolina concern is. Like, all right, I got 2 points out of Eric Robinson last night, and he's, like, having a great year for himself. But, like, can I expect that every night from him?
They come at you in waves. And, like, Eric Robinson, I had him to score the other night. Of course, 2 assists. That was a lot of fun. But, like, guys like that, everyone just seems to go there and have some sort of career year. Like, Shane Gostisbehere kind of found a resurgence there. Now he's back. They figured out a role for Sean Walker. They're figuring out, like, how to recover from the Mikko Rantanen trade. Like, okay, we got him. Couldn't re-sign him. Well, we figured something else out. We have Logan Stankoven, who's good for us now, and he's going to be great for us in the future. I just don't trust them in the playoffs. Like, their style, whatever, they can never find.
Rantanen leaving. Yeah, you know, like they could. I mean, they could rally around that kind of thing.
Maybe that is a thing where it's like last year they have Gensel and then he chooses not to stay. Yeah. Now they had Mikko Rantanen and he asked out after like 2 weeks. Maybe that is like a rallying point for Carolina in the East. But outside, like, I think that's the only team in the Metro that could actually win the conference.
Oh yeah, agreed. Yeah.
And they're still like, I don't know, who's your goalie? Like, are you going to go with Freddie Anderson, whose playoff track record stinks, or is it Peter Kochetkov, who's like second-year guy, hasn't really ever been a starter? It's tough. So I'm picking Tampa, and I'm picking them tonight. I would have to assume that they are going to run away with this thing after. Now the Flyers have played them tough twice this year, but I think that works against them. It's like, okay, we have to beat. What are we going to get swept by the Flyers? Like, we have Stanley Cup aspirations, and we lost 3 to the Flyers. I can't see that happening.
I agree. I mean, I'm going Tampa tonight too.
I'll be the outlier.
You can be the outlier.
No problem. I know Owen Tippett's going to score because he's
I will take
guy on St. Patrick's
Owen Tippett, Michkov goals.
Well, you don't think Konechny's going to break out of this tonight?
No.
He's going to hit every post.
Probably.
On both sides of that. Yeah. Like he's playing Gordon Bombay.
He really does need to.
Have you ever seen a guy win a game of posts on one shot but the puck not go in?
It's incredible.
I want to hug the guy. Like, if I was just like, I'm sorry, man.
No, I'm not even frustrated.
He needs
with
that standing O.
No, I feel bad for him. No. He needs the Trey Turner treatment. We don't. The Flyers don't do that. We just boo you. We just boo you
until you get out of it.
Until you figure it out yourself, or you end up demanding a trade. Like, that's pretty much how it goes. True. He can't. He's stuck here.
Yeah.
But no, I do. It's gone from like, TK, you got to get it together, to, buddy, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry this is the way it's going.
Because the effort's still there. It's clearly still there. And the chance, like, he just has so many chances all the time. But, like, he's got no goals in the last 11 games. And it's just like, this is one of our guys. You're supposed to be the guy.
He's the leading scorer.
You're supposed to be the guy, man. You know, like, I felt bad for you when you got scratched in the Four Nations stuff. Like, it should have been you out there, and then you came back, and all you do is hit the post now. It's like, it doesn't count. I'm sorry.
I thought he was dealing with an injury. I still do. But right now, it just kind of looks like in his head doesn't even begin to describe it.
What injury? Like, what?
I think it's a wrist or a shoulder. That's because his shots per game number has, like, fallen off a cliff since the halfway point. I think he's just not able to shoot as well. But you look at his shots recently, like, they have zip on him.
Right.
He's just unable to put it behind the goalie. So who the hell knows? Maybe tonight's the night, Walk. Maybe tonight is the night.
I'm rooting for it.
But that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers pregame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We will be back with post-game as soon as this thing goes final. Make sure you're following us right here on YouTube. Hit that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. It's where I do all my in-game tweeting. And follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. I'm Bill. That's Mike. That's Frank. Until post-game, let's go Flyers.
We all see city like the mayor.